Yeah, so funny. It's been 3 months since I last uploaded. It's been 5 months since I last was seriously uploading. And it's been exactly a year since I uploaded Transphobia and Trans Misogynoir, the very video that blew me up, that got me introduced to the space. As of the past 6-7 months, it's been a lot, especially for being a trans creator online, especially a Black trans creator, a Black leftist. With this video, I am going deep in the depths of this topic, since the first part was more like surface level. It's introducing people to the topics, but here we're getting the nitty and gritty. 2023 had more losses than victories for trans people, especially in America. The year alone had 589 anti-trans bills written within 49 states. 85 were passed, 185 are active, and 319 failed. Going through a few of these bills, you'll see why we're saying that we're going through a trans genocide, as these bills will lead to higher suicide rates and reversing people's transitions. That's affirming to them. We're putting off the band-aid right now so we can go into the most intense of them all. Starting with Oklahoma, SB 129, an anti-trans bill that charges any doctor with a felony charge that gives anyone gender-affirming care under the age of 26. Their argument for this is that the brain isn't fully developed to the age of 25. In my opinion, this bill right here was the most progressive, as it is literally going to cause so much damage to so many trans people under the ages of 26. As if I am on the age of 26, that would mean that I can transition right now. That means I can get my hormones. I can get my estradiol. That would mean the doctor that provides for me would get a family charge. The idea that I would not be able to live my life as me till the ages of 26. You as a teenager, your early 20s, all gone. Forced to live in the gender that you don't identify as. Forced to go through crippling dysphoria. The biggest fear that I and other trans people have is that other states are going to replicate this, especially Republican states, especially Southern states, Midwestern states. Another one of the many reasons why Republicans shouldn't get the presidential office no matter what. I refuse to vote Joe Biden. You go argue with your mama on that. In Arizona, SB 1001, guardians and teachers are able to misgender or override trans people's pronouns. This here is going to cause so much harm to trans folks, especially in situations where your parents aren't affirming. So for example, for me, I have a really religious Republican dad, a really religious Hispanic Republican dad. You know, the Hispanics were Trumps. I wouldn't be able to live as me. The whole idea that he can go over to my school and override my right to be able to live as me the second I'm out of his house. It brings me back to in high school when my dad found out that I was expressing myself in school. When the counselor was forced to inform him that I've been changing in the girls' locker room for over 4 months. From day one, I was using the bathrooms and locker rooms affirming with my gender, and no one suspected me. It wasn't until I missed a day of school and my teacher, specifically my dance teacher, marked me absent, and she took attendance closely for once and actually saw my sex mark. So the next day when I went to the locker rooms, she stopped me. She suggested to me that I should talk to the teacher that hosts the LGBT club. In that moment, I knew exactly what she was implying. So I said, I'll think about it. I was able to say, I'll think about it for 2 weeks straight. She didn't stop me once. She didn't say it was mandatory the second. Looking back at that now, it shows me that she understood. She understood that I was a girl. She understood what trans was. She understood that she saw me for all those months just existing in the girls' locker room before the bill was passed. This was before the bill in California where you can use the restrooms and bathrooms of your choice was active. It was inactive to a month and a half later. They understood my situation. They understood that I needed support. And they understood that taking me out of the girls' locker room immediately would only harm me, especially when she sees that my peers interacted with me in a way where they saw me as a girl. No one suspected, none of my peers, none of my teachers. I feared my father. My father one time shaved my head just out of spite. That hurt me so badly because he knew exactly. He knew exactly what that meant to me. So that's exactly the person I was dealing with and who I was afraid of. And I had to tell my counselor that don't tell him right away. Give me some time. He can't know. He's gonna react so badly. And once he found out, I was trying to tell him, like, my dad is not gonna accept me. He never will. And that's a fact. To this day, my dad has never accepted me. He has never called me by my name. Not once, not a single time. And once he found out, you know what he did? He pulled me out of school. He pulled me out and homeschooled me. I ran away. First chance I saw. While they were gone getting groceries, I was packing my bag while I was home. I was safely staying with friends. What set me off to even run was him letting me know that he was going to sign me up for a school where they're going to make me live as a boy, where they're going to shave my head, and there was no disobedience. And my dad, till this day, does not have a relationship with me. So if there was a bill like SB 1001, I'd be forced to go to the boys' locker room. I'd be forced to be the person I wasn't, and I probably would not be here right now. Moving on, the state of Wyoming, SF 0111. A bill will charge parents with child abuse, a felony charge, if they give their kids gender-affirming care. That would go down to procedures or drugs, aka hormones. Most minors usually are on puberty blockers when they have their affirming parents. And honestly, the puberty blockers was already a compromise. But the fact that parents who are giving their children the chance to live their life as themselves get the hormones they need, not just the compromise of puberty blockers, get arrested and sent to prison, it's just not giving this free country that these Republicans swear America is. Switching my ears to segue into the next section. In this section, I'll be going over some general transphobia, some turf talking points, and some wild situations. The bills alone is already hard as it is, but when you go into just everyday life, especially existing online as a trans person, you start to see all the bigotry we're forced to deal with. You have memes like this one over here. The implications of this meme is just outright just bigoted. This entire illustration is like honestly funny because I've seen other trans people be like, oh my god, can I find a babe like that? It's very interesting to see them try to weaponize this idea as if like we're men in dresses and that like the gender roles have been switched. Republicans, conservatives, bigots, centrists, etc. are all pressed that we're just living our lives. We're expressing ourselves. We're being non-conforming, whether you're non-binary, etc. AFAB, AMAB, all that. It bothers them enough to go out of their way to go make their memes, go make their whole internet persona all about attacking trans people.
Trans women allowed in beauty pageants, generally speaking?
They are. The question is, should they be allowed? And my answer is they should not. Absolutely not.
Why?
Because if you want to empower women, the way to do it is not demeaning women and belittling women by allowing men or biological men who became a woman to come into an industry like sports, like beauty pageants, come all dolled up plastic, beautiful men, by the way, and start dominating women's industries. That's the opposite of women's empowerment.
But I can understand not allowing trans athletes to compete with biological men and biological women. I can understand that. But a beauty pageant is all about look. It's not
For women.
Yeah, but it's not all about power and speed and strength. It's the look. And if the look is a woman, why would you object to that?
So yes and no. So being a judge, I can attest that a lot of it is the interview. And the interview comes from your life story and how as a woman you've evolved and you want to change the world. So if you grew up a man and you decided to become a woman, I don't think you have a true woman's feminine story. You don't know what period cramps feel like. I'm sorry. You don't know what it's like to walk down a stage, you know, during that time of the month and really say, this is femininity. No, you're not. You are a man who identifies as a woman, and that's fine, but don't start coming into women's industries. Like, have a line, have a boundary.
There's a couple things that was said here that I'm going to go into one-on-one. The plastic comment for trans women as if we all get surgeries isn't the case. But also, there's a lot of cis women that are in pageants that get plastic surgery. So this idea that trans women are the only plastic people in these beauty pageants is just far from the truth. Her fear of us dominating women-led spaces in something like a beauty pageant where nothing of their other talking points and when they use against us in sports doesn't apply, when it's just the look. It's just how beautiful you look. Beauty pageants are not about your chromosomes. It's not about your bone density. It's not about none of these talking points that TERFs use against trans women against sports. When going after trans women, they're also punching down on cis women who aren't able to menstruate, who aren't able to give birth, who don't have cramps, etc. My conclusions on this is that I hope trans women in these beauty pageants make you have a run for your money.
It's always, don't call me cis, that's offensive to me, that's a slur. What if I called myself cis? No, oh, now it's quiet. How you feel about that? A trans girl being cis? Oh, now you resonate with the term. Right. Misogyny, transphobia, and turfism. Clock your teeth.
Warning, 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 big turf energy. Big turf energy. I'm bracing you for the vitriol you're going to hear in this woman's voice, the misdirected negative energy towards trans women. This one is actually particular towards my trans mother, T.S. Madison. For those that don't know who she is, go to Transphobia and Trans Misogynoir. That was uploaded exactly a year ago.
The T.S. Madison of it all that says we're going to take away cis and trans and just lump everybody under women. No, we're not. You would never be a woman. Okay? You could be the stunt double under a Tyler Perry movie because you look like a whole Medea. Okay? The whole throwback, the crying games would have been about you. Chicks with... We're not throwing away that. Real women are not cis. We're women. What you want to be and trying so hard to be, but you will never become and never will be. You see, the thing is that I've learned that trans men don't ever come for real men because they know if they did, them men would mess them up. But the thing is, trans women can come for real women because we know that you're really men. And push come to shove, because you're men, you would mess us up. So you guys are emboldened to be so pressed and try to take away our womanhood. But let me tell you this, baby. You would never be a woman. Stop it.
First thing I want to address, this concept that trans women want to take away womanhood from cis women. When at the end of the day, we just want to live our lives. We want to live our lives peacefully. We want to be able to use restrooms, be part of sports, hell, play chess. Things like that. Be able to play chess in the women's league. It's literally a whole entire battle. We can't exist without cis women attacking us, specifically TERFs. TERFs attacking us for literally just being ourselves, for literally just enjoying our lives, for literally just being happy. I also was really caught off guard when she brought up trans men, as if like trans men can't overpower a cis man. Like, let's be real. There's a lot of twinks that a trans man would be able to press down, let alone some bodybuilder men that some trans men outbuild them on, outlift them on. Hell, there's cis women that outlift men. Like, come on. Like, this whole idea that automatically because you were born a female makes you weaker. I think this is rooted in misogyny, to assume that women or people that are born cis are automatically weaker than men. It's just bigoted. It's just plain misogyny. So this is a moment where a TERF is perpetuating misogyny. While they cry about the misogyny of trans women by us existing, us using the restrooms apparently makes us misogynistic, when trans women are victims of misogyny as well. I take offense if you think I, T.S. Madison, or any other trans woman would ever participate in a Tyler Perry movie, or even in any shape or form be equated to a Tyler Perry. Like, are you serious? Tyler Perry is the one you need to be going after because he's the one that's writing Black women in this negative light, this one-dimensional view of Black women, always putting us into this Black trauma. So go after Tyler. Go after Tyler Perry. Leave trans women alone. We are literally minding our business. We are literally just existing. This section of the video is very personal to me since it's about my friend Jessie Gender. Jessie Gender, who's been a target of the harassment campaign from the biggest transphobes online. Jessie Gender is a video essayist that make content on not just leftist issues, but a lot of entertainment such as Star Trek, movies, and recently a Barbie film. Before I dive into this, I want to make sure to say, show Jessie Gender some love. She's needing it more now than ever.
If you hadn't heard, this morning I woke up to a couple messages from people telling me that Queen TERF herself, J.K. Rowling, had retweeted me. And, that's not exactly a very fun way to start off the day. Now, we've seen this a bunch of times. J.K. Rowling will retweet a trans person or someone supporting trans people because her Twitter timeline is just all about trans people at this point. And it will eventually lead to a ton of harassment and targeted attacking of that person. She knows that this is what her audience will do. It's basically how Twitter works at this point, especially since Elon Musk has made it more and more of a platform that is okay with transphobia and hatred. And so sadly, that is what happened to me. I definitely woke up to a lot of messages in my inbox from people that were less kind, and even more so in my mentions, and people sort of replying to my tweets and things like that. And it was not very great. The Daily Wire host, Matt Walsh's film that he put out about a year ago that was an anti-transgender hate propaganda piece that has been getting renewed attention recently, given that Elon Musk himself has been promoting it on Twitter and allowing the film to air in full on that platform. And this situation is kind of weird and interesting and telling to me, and I just kind of needed to go over it with you because it's just been fascinating to kind of watch happen in front of my very eyes regarding me. And I think is also telling in terms of how anti-trans folks and right-wing folks and Matt Walsh fans, and again, sadly, that Venn diagram is pretty much a circle at this point, react to trans people speaking up about our own issues and talking about our own issues in any way that allows us to have a platform to be able to do so. So to give you the quick little backstory, as many of you may already know, after that film came out about a year ago, I made a 4-hour-long debunking video that went through every single piece of disinformation throughout the film, pointed out why it was, deliberately misconstruing the facts or interviews and things like that throughout the film, as well as how the film was going about trying to create a hatred towards transgender people and direct its audience to try to enact violence, both systemic, personal, and just individual, against transgender people. And also how the film was not about trying to convince anybody of transgender people, but really play to the Daily Wire type of audience that has already been primed by months and years of anti-transgender rhetoric to sort of give them more specific and a singular place to find the disinformation that they wish to go out and then spew about transgender people that is becoming more and more prominent and more solidified over the past few years. Like, the movie is just meant to sort of like collate all these different narratives that have been going around trans people the past few years and sort of like put it in a 2-hour movie to make it easy and sellable to their audience to say, here's the things that you need to say to hate on transgender people. Now, how I relate to what's been going on recently is not only did I do that 4-hour debunking, but just something that I did extra to push back against the film was I actually took my 4-hour video review and submitted it as my official review for the film over on Rotten Tomatoes. For those of you who don't know, I am actually, because I do, film criticism and film reviews, both on this channel and my other channel, I am actually technically an official critic over on Rotten Tomatoes. Because I am the singular negative review of the film from actual official critics that can go and do that on that channel, I've been seeing a lot of people talk about me from Matt Walsh's audience because of that. So I've been seeing on Twitter some people saying like, well, look, the one negative reviewer of the film is a person named Jesse Gender, so I think you're all right. And a lot of them sort of are even coming to my review of the film on YouTube and sort of saying this sort of things like, well, I get it. I see you. Of course you can't be objective, this gross. And they're saying the worst things too, like groomer, pedophile, blah, 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 blah. All that sort of nonsense at me. And it just, again, this argument that you can't be objective if you're a trans person talking about your own body, but someone like Christian fascist Matt Walsh can, speak objectively about trans people, as if there's like this idea of like a default neutral objectivity that anyone can have, which is very much rooted in white supremacy, heteronormativity, and all of these sort of, things. And another thing with all of this, too, that has been interesting to see is people trying to, like, ruin my career because I'm simply a trans person, stating my opinion about a movie. There are some people that have even written into Rotten Tomatoes to get me removed from the platform. And it goes to show the free speech crowd doesn't really like actual free speech.
It's extremely frustrating to see the type of hate that Jessie Gender had to endure and is still enduring. She is literally one of the biggest targets in the trans community. On BreadTube specifically. The fact that the biggest TERFs of all has personally went after her has negatively signal boosted her tweet, because J.K. Rowling knows exactly what she's doing. When she signal boosts a trans person, she knows her audience is going to go and attack them. She's those type of people that throw their rocks and hide their hands behind glass windows, cry foul, and don't even get me started on Matt Walsh. The fact that the same crowd that call themselves free speech warriors have the audacity to try to take away Jessie Gender's voice, attack her livelihood. And the sad reality is, when you're a trans creator online, when you receive harassment, it's likely not going to be your last. I want to say, Jessie Gender needs your support. It's hard to exist online as a trans person that has to also maintain their joy to be a creator online while being attacked. So truly, hats off to Jessie. With all that being said, let's segue into my last topic in this section before we shift onto the second half of the video. Here, we're gonna witness Dylan Mulvaney, who solely took a brand deal, something so simple, something as simple as an Instagram video, as till this day is harassed for it, simply for being trans, for something that wasn't even sold on shelves. Just her own personal pack of beer with her face on it led to months and months of harassment. She felt the need to isolate herself at home, needing security just to go out. A level of harassment that she would never wish upon her worst enemies. All this because she's trans. Let me take you back to the summer of 2023.
One thing I will not tolerate people saying about me is that I don't like beer, because I love beer and I always have. I built my platform on being honest with you, and what I'm about to tell you might sound like old news, but you know that feeling when you have something uncomfy like sitting on your chest? Well, that's how I feel right now, so this feels like the right thing to do. I took a brand deal with a company that I loved, and I posted a sponsored video to my page. And it must have been a slow news week, because the way that this ad got blown up, you would have thought I was like on a billboard or on a TV commercial or something major. But no, it was just an Instagram video. And the wildest part is that they also sent me one can with my face on it. You might have seen it. And funny story, I had the can around my house, but then I realized, wait, I need to protect this can. So I hid it somewhere. And now I can't find it because I hid it so well. But when I do find it, I feel like it needs to go in a museum, preferably behind bulletproof glass. And you might be thinking, Dylan, why bring it up now? I'm bringing it up because what transpired from that video was more bullying and transphobia than I could have ever imagined. And I should have made this video months ago, but I didn't. And I was scared, and I was scared of more backlash, and I felt personally guilty for what transpired. So I patiently waited for things to get better. But surprise, they haven't really. And I was waiting for the brand to reach out to me, but they never did. And for months now, I've been scared to leave my house. I have been ridiculed in public. I've been followed. And I have felt a loneliness that I wouldn't wish on anyone. And I'm not telling you this because I want your pity. I am telling you this because if this is my experience from a very privileged perspective, know that it is much, much worse for other trans people.
Dylan Mulvaney, being a white trans woman, being in a privileged position, understands her privilege. The way she ended that video, despite her going through a tremendous amount of harassment, was still able to walk away with intersectionality. And that's something that I'm trying to get some white trans folks to understand. She has gone through a level of harassment that I can't even fathom as a black trans woman. And for her to still walk out of that situation understanding that other trans folks can still have it worse, there is no excuse. Dylan can go through what she went through. There is no excuse for you to not understand intersectionality. Yet, it is pulling teeth with a particular section of white trans folks. There's a big portion still that don't understand this. I think once they come out as trans, that they don't have to be intersectional. They don't have to think about race anymore. They don't have to think about their place in society. I'm using Dylan's understanding of intersectionality to segue into the second half of this video, where we get in the nitty-gritty of misogynoir, specifically trans misogynoir. And the best person to start this conversation is my trans mother, T.S. Madison.
Caitlyn did a lot of after, during, and after transition. I don't with that pussy motherfucker, but I don't misgender her, and I don't really invalidate her transness because she's still a trans. But the bitch is a whack pussy punk bitch. We're athletes' foot. Bitch, put some tenacity on them motherfucking athletes' feet. But we're not gonna sit up here and act like that neither one of them two girls, neither one of those two trans women have privilege on a level that we'll never see. And I'll be trying to get you colored folk out there that watch this shit, watch me, watch all this stuff that's going on to understand how difficult it is to maneuver through this entertainment business as living proudly and out loud black. No, I may not never get no endorsement from no, but whatever endorsement I get, when I do get the bitch, I motherfucker lays down on them hoes and I text them. because I am the first Black transgender woman to ever executive produce and star in her own reality television series on Earth. Whether or not she got a season 2, 3, 7, or 15, I'm the only one. And that is terrible.
Placing my last rabbit here to segue this last half of the video, as we will be discussing trans misogynoir. Trans misogynoir. For folks to understand what that is, we need to break down what misogynoir is. So misogynoir is misogyny towards Black, trans misogyny towards Black trans women.
The trans murder is used by orgs. More often than not, the racial aspect of those numbers are ignored because 3/4 of those murders are Black trans women.
There's a lot of fundraising used on these statistics, on these trans orgs that are mostly led by white queer folks, that don't give Black queer folks the platform, that don't advocate for us the way we need, that keep us underrepresented, underserved. The fact that it's taken Gabrielle Union having a trans daughter for GLAAD to talk about Black trans women in the way that needed to be talked about on the large platform that they had. Segueing to a trans creator on TikTok that does great work, but it's a tiny little critique that I have. This trans creator is named Aaron. Aaron covers general trans news, and they do cover some breaking cases, especially when a trans person's on the spotlight. Typically, what I've noticed has been solely white trans folks have been getting the spotlight. This kind of reaffirms these biases where media only upholds white trans folks. And now I'm seeing trans who have the microphone, who have the platform, and still uphold white trans folks who don't give the same energy to marginalized trans folks of color who are never given the time of day. I took the time to scroll through her content, and I tried counting how many times they talked about Black trans folks. I only found one, and it was specifically when they were giving trans history. Nothing discussed on Black History Month or whatnot. So this isn't a dig at Erin. This is just something I would want to see her improve on in this new year. I would love to see some coverage on Black trans folks during Black History Month. It's a perfect opportunity. It shouldn't be Black queer folks being the only ones uplifting Black trans folks. It's Black trans folks and other Black queer folks upholding and speaking on Black trans issues. And that needs to change now. Now here we are in the final segment of the video. We're discussing a very specific situation that happened this summer. I am highly disappointed in the Black community, Black woman community, and other Black folks that dogpiled on this Black trans woman that was targeted by libs of TikTok of all people, libs of TikTok, pushing misinformation, pulling them out of context. So here's the video that sparked this entire video concept that made me want to do a part 2 of Transphobia and Trans Misogynoir.
This is what I mean when the transphobia just comes out, the audacity and just the arrogance for cis women to believe that they own periods, that they own womanhood. You don't. Okay, you don't own periods, you don't own womanhood. You experience both, and both are different for every person, but as a cis woman, it doesn't belong to you, so you can't gatekeep it. Like, hello?
Is gonna stand up for us? Who the f stands up for us? And us, I mean women, real women, biological women, women who were born with all the parts that you guys wish that you were. When does the delusion stop? What is the difference between you and someone who has been diagnosed to be mentally insane? What's the only difference is you don't have a straitjacket on. Stop talking out your... Wake up. How are you projecting your anger on real women? Because we are the gatekeepers. We are the gatekeepers for periods. We the only one that bleed, honey. We the only ones that can give birth. We make y'all people. We make y'all. Y'all come from us. You can't be us. You will never. You're chasing something you'll never, ever get. You'll never be that. How are you projecting your anger on real women? Because we are the gatekeepers.
Tell me why I'm just finding out that video the Black trans woman made saying that essentially cis women don't own a womanhood and they don't own periods was a 2-year-old video made in response to a cis woman being violently transphobic towards a trans man.
You don't even know the context. That video was me responding to a cis woman being transphobic to a trans man, which is why I said you don't own period, you don't own womanhood. A Republican went on my page, because the video is 2 years old, went on my page, clipped it, and had that quick little moment, put it on Twitter, and went viral, and it had like 5 million views in one day. And that's how the drama started. And then someone clipped it and put it on Instagram, and that's how Jess got involved.
Anybody who's on Twitter knows the account lives of TikTok. They usually post inflammatory content targeting people who are left-leaning or who they consider liberals. This account on Twitter essentially went looking through this woman's profile for content to completely strip of its context, send out to Twitter, and trusted that black folk would do the work on their behalf of dogpiling, harassing, disposing of, sending this woman death threats. This whole entire time y'all were making it seem as though this woman came out of left field targeting specifically cis black women. Y'all did not do your due diligence. Y'all did not do your due diligence. How can we as a community aspire towards liberation when y'all are so driven by blogs and misinformation? Because why didn't y'all go look? Why didn't y'all go find the context?
Now that you have the context to why I'm so livid, why I'm disappointed at black blogs who push that misinformation, who push right-wing propaganda, who push libs of TikTok, who cut that trans woman out of context. An old video, a 2-year-old video of them defending trans men and non-binary people who do menstruate, who do have periods still. She was in the right from the jump. And nonetheless, she's attacked relentlessly. And this spiraled into such a bigger thing because it didn't stop with her. It led to T.S. Madison being attacked when she spoke up. And it was a trickle-down effect. Any black trans person with a platform that spoke up during the situation got attacked. Some that didn't even say nothing, but because they're trans, they were being attacked. Own black folks. And a lot of these folks don't realize, when we say Black Lives Matter, that includes black trans folks, that includes black trans women, that includes black non-binary people, black trans men, black disabled people. The fact that they did the work of right-wingers to dogpile that trans woman for rightfully defending trans men and non-binary people. Now let's segue into what my trans mother T.S. Madison had to say, because this is just the beginning of the situation.
Number 2, just hilarious, who had every right to feel some type of way, because we're not going to sit up here and act as if women aren't feeling like they're under attack. And women are feeling like they're under attack because of the political propaganda that's being put out, as if trans people are demons, as if we're vile, as if we are out to try to erase womanhood. And 99.9% of the time, that is coming from a white rhetoric. There is no way that I'm going to refer to my mother as a bonus hole, or as a birthing channel, or as a chest feeder. There's no way that I'm going to do anything like that. And I don't expect for you, because I've never disrespected women in any way to even refer to women that way. And so therefore, I would never use that, and I don't even encourage using that. Ever. And I understand that women are feeling at this current time, in these states of affairs, that their whole womanhood is on the line, and that somebody is trying to take that from them. But your anger is misplaced, because the people that are trying to take that from you are the people that are in Congress, in the White House, and in legislature. We're sitting around here arguing about cis and trans and all this, and all of our rights, because I do fall under woman too. All of our rights are being stripped from us by the government. And they're using these tactics like this to divide and conquer, so that we're focused on all the bickering and fighting about who, what, when, where, why, and whatever. And rights are being stripped from us left and right.
Let's get this out the way. Cis woman. I don't give a if you're offended by that term. I have a too, and I'm not. You know how some men go looking for unsavory memes or videos of black women so they can go on podcasts and call us all trash? That's the very same thing that cis women like Just Hilarious do to trans women. I don't understand what she said that was wrong. Well, let me explain, boo-boo. The trans woman in that video never said that they have periods, just that non-cis women do, you know, trans men, for example. And even if she did, matter of fact, let's say she said, I bleed better than you. If I was out and somebody cornered me and said, give me your purse, I have depression, you have to give it to me, would I, a reasonable human being, conclude that the mental health movement has gone too far because people with depression are purse snatchers? Or would I check stealing my purse? Y'all can never discuss talking points made by trans women without invalidating the entire community, yet y'all claim not to have a problem with them. Be indubitably the She said those women belong in straitjackets because she misunderstood what a trans woman was saying. And in her video, she said, who's fighting for us? Us meaning cis women in this scenario. When one, she has a very large platform and I ain't never heard her talk about our liberation, have you? And two, trans women don't have the societal standing to wage war on us if they wanted to. They're being stripped of their rights and murdered too. There is a war on women. It's perpetrated by the cis men who are in power, but y'all are blaming it on trans women who experience misogyny too.
I really appreciate T.S. Madison bringing the focus back on to politicians, people in government, specifically white men who are leading a lot of these charges for taking away rights from women, also oppressing trans folks that also menstruate, trans folks that are also able to give birth, people who experience misogyny that includes trans women. T.S. Madison really focused on how they're trying to divide us, how they're trying to distract us, so we're not focused on them. People like Libs of TikTok are only there to distract from the bigger pictures that we're all losing our rights. T.S. Madison understands that this is misdirected hate. They're attacking the wrong people. It's not trans people who are here to take away rights. It's white men in power, white men in government, white men in southern states. There's so much to focus on, but yet trans people keep getting punched down on. We be minding our business, advocating for ourselves, advocating for others, advocating for women, including cis women, and yet we're still stomped on, spat on, and disregarded, seen as men in dresses, when we literally just want to live our lives in harmony with everyone else. And the fact that this led to T.S. Madison getting doxxed, her passport posted by Tasha K, a content creator that was defending Just Hilarious. And it doesn't end at T.S. Madison being doxxed. A random trans woman, a black trans woman that had nothing to do with the situation, was being attacked, and she spoke up for herself. And her speaking up for herself due to all the hate that she was getting got her further attacked when she was just minding her business. We be minding our business and still attacked. I can't help but to think about my own situation, knowing the fact that me being black and trans has resulted in me being harassed out of my skin. So many videos made on me, over 30 to 40 videos. I can't even keep track. I don't even want to count them all. All this because I'm a black trans woman that spoke out against anti-blackness, that spoke out against racism, that pointed out white supremacy in the left. And I don't want to say names, I have no interest, but those that did that, but those that led the harassment campaign, that doxed me, that shared my legal name when I go by Soul Bunny. No one knew my name before here. Going out of their way to share articles of where I live, sharing my Facebook, etc. Those are things I'm still dealing with. I've been silent. I haven't said nothing. Months, just minding my business, just being a college student. And still, white supremacists still have their foot on my neck. Still making content on me. Days before Christmas, new videos made on me. 9-hour video. No matter how much I choose to ignore it and just mind my business and just try to come back to YouTube. These folks they're trying to oppress me. They're trying to prevent me from having a platform. They don't want a black trans person here present, just being candid about anti-racism, stuff that are one-on-ones. I ain't even doing nothing intense. I literally only have 6 videos. One of them talking about me being doxxed. I only made 5 videos in 2023. One of them being Transphobia and Trans Misogynoir. That blew me up. And a part of me makes me think about how FD Signifier told me not to make the video that got me harassed. And I really do wish I listened to him. I really wish I took his advice. And now I'm here dealing with this harassment campaign that's gone on past 6 months. But simply because I'm a Black trans woman saying what I'm saying, I get whole arcs made on me, whole playlists. If I was white, the degree of harassment I'm experiencing wouldn't be the case. But I realize these racist people can't help themselves because I happen to be the SJW, purple hair, Black trans woman. They don't even distinguish themselves from anti-SJWs from the 2016 era. Moving the same way. It's giving very much Gamergate. This has sucked out the joy of me being a content creator. Me being harassed for being Black. Them wanting to prove this Black person so badly that they're right. That they know better than this Black bee. That's the vibe it gives. I can't just exist online without constantly being reminded that I have a harassment campaign on me. Constantly worried about my address being leaked because now people know where I live when I'm already in a mostly white area where I'm already the only Black person in my classes. Every single class I had last semester, only Black person in class. That has been my entire upbringing, growing up in SoCal, being the only Black person in class. And now my safety is being compromised. Again, thousands and thousands of people seeing my Facebook, getting to see who I'm related to, seeing articles with my name and where I live, student papers. That has nothing to do with this. Like, why are people going this far? I know why. It all goes back to me being a Black trans woman, specifically a Black trans woman. I don't get to just exist like my white counterparts that are trans, that are able to flourish. They get to be as messy as they want to be if they choose to be, and still be supported financially, have a career, have a platform. Yet if I move the same way, say the same things, I will never hear the end of it. It's a double standard, and I'm over it. I've been done, and I'm done letting them have the power. I'm done being harassed. I'm done letting them harass me in the sense where I'm letting it get to me. I'm over it. I want to be able to enjoy being a content creator like anyone else. Minding my business, making content that matters to me. I still didn't even meet my goal for my moving fund. So yes, I'm stuck in my town for another semester. A semester that I couldn't even afford. To the point where literally, once this premiere ends, I am doing a live stream for the rest of this week so I can afford my classes. So I can afford my books. Those are some things a lot of white trans folks with platforms don't have to worry about. They are financially backed in a way that I can never be. And I honestly probably would have been, and I honestly probably would have had the funds if I wasn't so drained. The joy taken out of making content. I probably would have been all right. But I've been absent because of the trauma I've dealt with being online, because of white people can't help but to harass me because I'm Black, because I'm Black plus trans. It's that combination that they just can't help themselves. I'm so scrumptious. I'm content. They can't stop it, and it's honestly played out. Instead of boosting or uplifting Black trans folks, they'd rather attack a Black trans person that just pointed out white supremacy, obvious white supremacy. One-on-ones. But this is the end of all that. I'm speaking my mind. I'm saying my piece. This is an end to the chapter of my harassment. Let's get real. How many trans people do you know have 1 million subscribers? Who, when you talk about trans issues, it's trans people having the microphone, who have the platform, who are getting the views. Or people, or are cis people, the ones getting the views, who are getting the pat on their back, who are being told they're good allies, talking about trans issues. But yet, those same viewers don't give trans people the time or day when we talk about our own plight. We make their own videos on our own issues. We're not giving the same amount of support. We're nowhere near where we need to be. Yet we got countless people saying they're allies. We got countless people saying they support trans people. Yet the data shows that's not the case. Because if this is support, it's giving lukewarm, because we are barely getting crumbs. Some of us ain't getting nothing. Not a pebble. And that needs to change. That needs to change now. Thank you for taking the time to watch and listen closely to what I had to say. If you want to support me, in the description I have my Patreon, my Ko-fi shop where I sell my art, I have Twitch, and I'll be live streaming after this video premieres. Also, check out all the trans creators I linked in the description. They definitely deserve the views and the support. We need more 1 million subscriber trans folks. That said, please have a great day.